Have you ever looked at a friend and felt like there was something off, something dark, but you couldn't explain it? They laugh with you, they hang out with you, they say they care about you, but deep down your body tenses around them. There's a part of you that doesn't feel safe. You call it bad vibes. Buddhism calls it something else, a reflection. Because what if the parts of your friends that unsettle you the most are actually the parts of yourself you've refused to meet? Not the monster, not the hero, something more dangerous, the shadow self, the version of you that lives underneath your good person image, jealous, controlling, manipulative, needy, cold. You push it down, so life gives it back to you, through other people. Today, we're not here to talk about fake friends in a shallow way. We're going to dissect them like a surgeon, through psychology, through Buddhist wisdom, through the uncomfortable mirror they hold up to your soul, and once you see what your shadow has been doing behind your back, you will never look at your friendships the same way again. Let's begin. 1. The friend who plays the victim, and the part of you that loves being helpless. You know this friend. Nothing is ever their fault. Every ex was crazy, every boss was toxic, every problem is the universe against me. You listen, you empathize, you feel bad for them, at first. Then something shifts, you notice a pattern. Same story, different characters, always the victim. Psychology calls this victim mentality and learned helplessness. After enough repeated failures and emotional pain, the brain stops believing effort matters. So why try? Better to complain, better to collapse. Buddhism points to a similar trap. Attachment to identity, not just who I am, but who I am in my suffering. I'm the one who's always unlucky. I'm the one no one understands. I'm the one life keeps hurting. Now here's the part nobody tells you. You don't just attract this friend randomly. You resonate with them. Because there is a part of you that also wants to surrender responsibility, to blame life, to blame them, to blame your past. You judge your friend for staying stuck. But look closely. Where in your life are you doing the exact same thing? Where do you say, that's just how I am, that's just my trauma, that's just my anxiety, and use that as a full stop, not a starting point for change? Buddhism says suffering has a cause. It is not random. It is not destiny. It is built, and if it was built, it can be dismantled. But the ego prefers the role of victim over the work of responsibility, so it does something clever. It points at your friend. Look at them. So dramatic, so toxic, so stuck. Because as long as you're diagnosing their shadow, you don't have to face your own. The toxic trait you see, they never own their mistakes. Flip it. Where in your life do you refuse to own yours? The trigger is the teacher. The victim friend is not just a weight you carry, they're a mirror you're avoiding. 2. The manipulative friend, and the shadow that loves control. There's a friend who never attacks you directly. They don't shout. They don't insult. They don't say, I'm using you. They do something worse. They twist. They guilt trip you. Wow, I guess I know where I stand now. They disappear when you need them, then show up when they need something. They make subtle comments that make you doubt yourself. Are you sure that happened like that? You're being a little too sensitive. You start feeling crazy. You start apologizing for things you didn't do. You start walking on eggshells. Psychology calls this gaslighting, emotional manipulation, and control. Now let's bring in Buddhism. There's a concept called clinging to self, the desperate need to protect the ego's image at any cost. The manipulative friend cannot tolerate being wrong. They cannot tolerate losing control. So they bend reality to preserve their fragile identity. Here comes the punch to the gut. You say, I hate controlling people. I hate manipulators. I hate liars. But ask yourself, when was the last time you left out key details so you wouldn't look bad? Acted nice to someone you secretly resented because you still needed something from them? Slightly exaggerated a story to tilt sympathy in your direction? That is your shadow. Not as loud, not as obvious, but made of the same material. The Buddha compared the mind to a monkey, restless, calculating, constantly grabbing. Your manipulative friend is just a monkey with a megaphone. Your shadow is a monkey in silence, the trait you call toxic in them. They always need to be in control. Now flip it. Where do you lose your mind when things go off your script? When people don't text back? When plans change last minute? When someone's opinion of you shifts even slightly? Control isn't evil. Attachment to control is. That's when you start pulling strings, smiling in front, resenting behind, crafting versions of yourself for every room. Buddhism says, the more masks you wear, the further you drift from who you really are. So when you see a manipulative friend, you are not just seeing who they are, you're seeing who you could become. If your ego went unchecked, you don't have to tolerate them, you don't have to stay. But if you really want to evolve, don't just walk away saying they're toxic. Walk away asking, what part of me enjoyed this dance of control? Because your shadow doesn't only suffer from manipulators, it sometimes feeds on them. 3. The jealous friend and the Buddhist lesson of the hungry ghost. You feel it in the room when you share something good. You talk about a win. Their eyes dim for half a second. You mention someone complimented you. They bring up a story where they outdid you. You see the comparison running in the background. We call them haters, envious, insecure. Psychology calls this social comparison and envy, the constant measuring of, where do I stand compared to you? Buddhism has a haunting image for this, the hungry ghost, beings with huge empty stomachs and tiny mouths, always consuming, never full. You think your jealous friend is the hungry ghost, but be honest. Has your chest never tightened, seeing someone your age more successful? Has your smile never felt slightly forced when a friend got what you wanted first? Has your mind never whispered, why them, why not me? You don't post that part, you don't admit that part. That's your shadow, the hungry ghost dressed in your skin. Jealous friends are loud, they're obvious, they downplay your success, they twist compliments, they go silent when you shine. Your jealousy is quieter, you might even call it motivation, but beneath I'm just inspired, there's often another voice. I need to catch up. I'm behind. I'm less. That is the same hunger, just dressed up in productivity language. Here's the Buddhist cut. Envy is not just wanting what others have, it's resenting that they had it before you, and it blinds you. Instead of seeing the truth of their path, their grind, their pain, you see only the surface, the house, the partner, the followers, the lifestyle. Your jealous friend can't celebrate you because your win threatens their identity. You can't fully celebrate others because their win threatens your timeline. Same mechanism, different intensity. So what's the move? Buddhism doesn't say force yourself to feel happy for everyone. It says observe the envy. Name it when it rises. Instead of saying, they're so fake for not being happy for me, ask, what part of me also struggles to be happy for others? That question doesn't excuse their behavior, but it prevents your shadow from hiding behind moral superiority. Because here's the hidden poison. The more you judge jealous people, the more secretly jealous you become. You keep feeding the hungry ghost, with comparison, with scrolling, with competition. The only thing that shrinks it is radical honesty. I am jealous, I am scared, I am insecure. That sentence is like sunlight. The shadow loses power when you stop pretending it isn't there. 4. The friend who always has drama, and your addiction to emotional chaos. There's a friend whose life is a constant emergency. Every week, a new enemy, a new crisis, a new meltdown. They call you with long voice notes. They need advice, support, full attention. You stay up at 2 a.m., talking them out of self-destruction. Again. You tell yourself, I'm just being a good friend. But watch your own nervous system. When they blow up your phone, a part of you lights up. You feel needed, important, central. Psychology calls this codependency and the rescuer role. You don't just hate their chaos, you're hooked on it. Buddhism has a brutal name for this, attachment to suffering. Not just your own, but secondhand suffering. You become addicted to other people's pain because it distracts you from your own. It makes you feel useful. It makes you feel morally superior. I'm the stable one. I'm the strong one. I'm the therapist. Your toxic friend plays the victim. Your shadow plays the savior. Different roles, same cycle. And here's where it gets dark. If they suddenly got their life together, if they healed, set boundaries, and stopped depending on you, would you genuinely be 100% happy? Or would there be a quiet emptiness? A voice whispering, who am I, if I'm not saving anyone? That's the Buddhist angle on karma. Not magic, not punishment, pattern. Two people locked in a loop that feeds both of their egos. So yes, your friend might be toxic, but your shadow is not innocent. It feeds on their instability. Because as long as you're busy fixing their life, you never have to sit with the silence of yours. The Buddha talked about samsara, the endless cycle of repeating the same experiences, wearing different masks. You don't break samsara by finding better friends. You break it by refusing to play the same role. You stop answering calls at 3 a.m. You stop giving advice that's never used. You stop mistaking emotional chaos for connection. And when the drama stops flooding your phone, the real noise will appear, the one inside your own mind. That's when the real work begins. 5. The friend who triggers you the most is your deepest unmet self. There is always one. One friend who hits something raw in you, more than the others, more than you want to admit. They might be too blunt, too free, too selfish, too cold, too honest. They say things normal people don't say. They cross lines others don't. You either love them intensely or feel deeply unsafe around them, sometimes both. Psychology would call this a trigger, an activation of unprocessed wounds and unmet needs. Buddhism goes even deeper. This person awakens your shadow. Because they live out loud what you keep buried. They say no without explaining. They ask for what they want. They don't care who doesn't like them. They walk away without guilt. You label them arrogant, selfish, ruthless. But underneath the judgment, there's a quiet envy, because there's a part of you that wants that same brutal freedom. You who always softens your opinion. You who always considers everyone else first. You who forgives too quickly, explains too much, bends too often. Your shadow watches them and whispers, "I wish I had the nerve." This is called shadow admiration. You hate what you secretly crave. And then, there's the other version. The friend who is everything you fear becoming. Cold, calculating, emotionless. You pride yourself on empathy. You pride yourself on being the good one. But sometimes your own sensitivity exhausts you. You're tired of caring so much. You're tired of feeling everything deeply. So your mind does what it always does with disowned parts. It externalizes them. I'm nothing like them. I would never do that. I could never be that heartless. Buddhism has a word that slices through both. Aversion. That intense no inside you that pushes something away with all its force. What you strongly cling to or strongly resist. Owns you. So the friend who triggers you most is not random. They stand exactly where your unbalanced self lives. They expose. Where your kindness becomes self-erasure, where your authenticity becomes cruelty, where your sensitivity becomes fragility, where your boundaries become walls. They are not your guru. They might actually be bad for you in reality, but they are your X-ray. You don't have to keep them in your life. But you cannot unsee what they revealed. Every trigger is a flashlight, pointing at the basement you keep locked. So, what do you do with this? You wanted to identify toxic traits in friends. You got something else. You got a map of your own shadow. The friend who plays the victim shows you where you refuse responsibility. The manipulator shows you where you twist reality to protect your ego. The jealous one shows you the hungry ghost gnawing quietly in your chest. The dramatic one shows you your addiction to chaos and the savior role. The one who triggers you the most shows you the self you fear and the self you secretly want to become. Buddhism doesn't say, blame them. Blame yourself. It says, see clearly. In psychology terms, this is shadow integration. You stop saying, I am only the good parts. You start saying, yes, there is envy in me, control in me, neediness in me, coldness in me. I will not let them rule me, but I will not pretend they don't exist. Because what you deny controls you. What you face, you can choose. So here is your quiet, brutal homework. After this video, pick one friend who bothers you the most emotionally. Write down the top 3 toxic traits you see in them. Then, for each one, ask, where in my life, even at 5%, do I do this too? You will want to say, nowhere. Your ego will scream, this is not me. That's exactly where the shadow hides. You don't have to like these parts. You just have to stop lying about them. Because the moment you admit, sometimes I crave control. Sometimes I like being the victim. Sometimes I am jealous. Sometimes I enjoy being needed. The game changes. You become less reactive, less easily manipulated, less obsessed with labeling everyone toxic. You stop thinking, how do I remove all toxic people from my life? And start asking, how do I stop abandoning myself so I stop inviting the same roles over and over again? That's where Buddhist teaching and psychology shake hands. Awareness first, action second. You set boundaries without hatred. You walk away without needing to prove you're right. You forgive without letting people that hurt you sit at your table again. Because now you're not just deleting people, you're editing patterns. If this message hit something deep inside you, if you felt a part of you being exposed and understood at the same time, don't just scroll away and forget it. Stay. Hit subscribe. Leave a single sentence in the comments that captures the line that hit you hardest, the one that only someone confronting their shadow would write. I'll read them, because that's where the real ones show up. You're not just cutting off toxic friends. You are learning to see the creature you created inside yourself. And once you see it, there is no turning back. Move through your friendships with awareness. Watch who triggers you. Watch who drains you. Watch who mirrors you. And remember, the shadow you refuse to meet within will always find a way to sit across from you, smile at you, and call itself your friend.